In the middle of a stormy, moonless highway, a frantic knock slammed against the side of Daniel's truck. So loud, so desperate, it made his heart jolt as if someone had grabbed it with their bare hands. When he opened the door and saw a trembling woman clutching a newborn to her chest, soaked to the bone, eyes filled with terror, he didn't know that by dawn, he would uncover a truth that would change his life forever. Before we begin, if you love emotional, real-life-inspired stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Hopeful Stories so you never miss more heart-touching tales. The rain hammered against the windshield like thousands of tiny fists, and Daniel, exhausted from a long-haul shift, was moments away from pulling over to rest when the desperate knock hit his truck. He jumped, grabbed his flashlight, and swung the door open. Standing there was a young woman soaked in muddy rain, clutching a tiny baby wrapped in a thin pink blanket that did nothing to protect it from cold. Her lips trembled, teeth chattering violently. "Please," she whispered, her voice so weak he had to lean closer to hear it. "We need help." Without a second thought, Daniel motioned her inside and cranked up the heater. She held the baby close, rubbing its tiny back as it let out a soft, tired cry. Daniel glanced at her. She looked no older than 25, with hair plastered against her cheeks and eyes that were red from crying or exhaustion. "My truck broke down a few miles back," she said. "I didn't know what to do. My phone died, and it's getting cold." Daniel nodded gently and offered her his dry jacket. She hesitated at first, then accepted it with a grateful but nervous smile. Something about her seemed off, not dangerous, but tense, like she was carrying a burden too heavy for her small frame. As he drove, she kept glancing behind him as if someone might appear on the empty, stormy road. Finally, he asked her name. She paused long enough to make it awkward. "Lena," she said softly, "and this is Noah." Daniel smiled at the baby, who blinked back with innocent, sleepy eyes. After a few minutes of silence, he gently asked where she was headed. Again, hesitation. "Somewhere safe," she answered, staring out the window. "Anywhere, as long as it's away from him." The word "him" sent a chill through Daniel. He didn't push further. He could see how shaken she was. When they finally reached a gas station for shelter and warmth, the lights flickered and the storm roared even louder. Daniel bought her warm soup, a blanket, and milk for the baby. As she fed Noah, Daniel noticed faint bruises on her wrist, fresh, purple, painful looking. She quickly tugged her sleeve down, pretending she didn't notice him noticing. Minutes later, a police car slowly pulled into the station. Lena stiffened instantly. Her breathing sped up. Her hand shook so hard the baby fussed. "Please," she whispered sharply, "don't let them see me. I can't go back." Daniel was confused. Why would the police frighten her more than the storm? Before he could ask, the officer walked in, scanning the area, holding a photo in his hand. He approached Daniel. "Sir, have you seen this woman? She's been missing for 2 days." Daniel froze. The picture showed Lena, but she looked different, confident, neat, wearing a professional badge that read, "Dr. Lena Hartwell, pediatric surgeon." A doctor? A missing person? And why did she run? Daniel glanced at the trembling woman hiding behind the vending machine, clutching her baby like the world was trying to steal him away. One thing was clear. Whatever story he thought he knew, he was nowhere close to the truth. Daniel's pulse quickened as he stared at the photo of the woman now hiding in fear a few steps away. Dr. Lena Hartwell, a respected surgeon, a woman loved by her community, missing for 48 hours. Nothing made sense, but the terror in her eyes earlier was real. Too real. The officer waited for Daniel's answer, eyes sharp, scanning every reaction. Daniel swallowed hard, but decided to buy Lena a few precious seconds. "No," he said calmly. "Haven't seen her." The officer narrowed his eyes thoughtfully, then slipped the photo back into his pocket. "If you do, call immediately. She might be in danger." As he stepped out into the storm again, Daniel rushed to Lena. She was shaking so violently she could barely hold the baby. "Why are the police looking for you?" he whispered. Lena took a deep breath, tears streaming down her face. "Because they think I kidnapped my own son." Daniel stared at her in shock. "Kidnapped?" She nodded, clutching little Noah closer. "Noah isn't," she paused before finishing, "isn't supposed to exist. At least, not in the eyes of the man I married." She explained everything in broken, trembling words. Her husband, a wealthy hospital director, had hidden their pregnancy from the public to protect his reputation. He didn't want anyone to know she'd been assaulted by one of his colleagues during an overnight shift. When Lena discovered she was pregnant, her husband demanded she abort the baby to avoid scandal. She refused. The more she resisted, the more controlling and dangerous he became. When Noah was born, her husband arranged to have the baby taken away under pretense of urgent medical transfer. But Lena overheard the truth. Her husband planned to send Noah abroad for adoption without her consent. That night, she fled with her newborn. Her car broke down in the storm, and she'd been wandering ever since. Daniel felt his fists clench with anger. "You did the right thing," he told her. "I'm not letting anyone take him from you." But the danger wasn't over. Minutes later, a black SUV pulled into the gas station. Sleek, tinted, expensive. Lena's face turned ghost white. Daniel recognized a man stepping out, the same face from the newspaper clippings pinned on the station's bulletin board about the hospital charity gala. Her husband. The man stormed inside, shouting her name. Lena hid again, trembling, trying to keep the baby quiet. Daniel stepped forward before the man could spot her. "She's not here," Daniel said firmly. But the man grabbed Daniel by the collar. "Don't lie to me," he snarled. At that moment, the baby let out a soft cry. Everything froze. Lena stepped out, clutching Noah protectively. "You're not taking him," she whispered. The man lunged forward, but Daniel shoved him back. The commotion drew the attention of the same police officer from earlier, who returned just in time. After a frantic, heated confrontation and the officer hearing Lena's full account and noticing her bruises, the truth finally began to unfold. Backup arrived. Her husband was detained for investigation, and Lena was taken to safety with Daniel by her side. Hours later, as the storm eased into a soft drizzle, Lena sat in Daniel's truck holding Noah and quietly thanking him for believing her when she had no one else left. He offered her a small smile. "You don't have to thank me," he said. "Everyone deserves someone who stands up for them." And as the first morning light cracked through clouds, Daniel realized something powerful. Sometimes the people who knock on your door aren't looking for a ride. They're looking for a lifeline. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Hopeful Stories for more emotional, true, inspired tales.